Why do governments across countries, across ideologies, across centuries keep making the same mistakes? Why do plans that look rational often fail in practice? Why do systems designed to improve life so often make it worse? In the final chapters of Seeing Like a State, J.C. Scott gives an answer, and it is deeper than corruption, deeper than incompetence. It is the recurring temptation to mistake simplification for understanding. Throughout this book, Scott has shown a pattern. States seek to make society legible, measurable, organized, and manageable. People are categorized, cities redesigned, villages reorganized, agriculture standardized. From above, this often looks rational, but reality is rarely simple. In Chapter 8, Scott turns from society to nature itself, and the lesson remains the same. Forests, farms, landscapes, to planners, they often appear chaotic, too diverse, too complex, too difficult to control. So they simplify them. Natural systems are replaced with cleaner models, uniform forests, single crop agriculture, standardized production. What is messy is removed. What is measurable remains. And for a time it can appear successful. Higher yields, cleaner maps, neater administration. But complexity often contains resilience. Diversity protects systems. Local adaptation matters. Redundancy matters. When you remove these things, you may gain efficiency, but lose durability. A forest becomes vulnerable, a farm becomes brittle, a system becomes dependent on constant intervention. And here we see the larger principle. What looks inefficient from the outside may be carrying hidden intelligence. In Chapter 9, Scott introduces one of the most important ideas in the entire book, metis. Metis means practical knowledge in Greek, tacit knowledge, know-how gained through experience, knowledge that is hard to write down, but essential to functioning life. The ancient Greeks had a figure who embodied this trait, Odysseus, not the mightiest warrior, but often the most resourceful. He survives through judgment, adaptation, cunning under pressure. That is metis. And we still see it today. The farmer who knows how this particular soil behaves, the mechanic who hears a problem before seeing it, the shopkeeper who understands the rhythms of a neighborhood, the craftsman whose judgment cannot be reduced to a manual. It is intelligence embedded in practice. This kind of knowledge, metis, creates a problem for planners, because it cannot be easily centralized, quantified, standardized, or reported upward. And so it is often dismissed. What cannot be measured is treated as if it does not exist. Yet real societies depend on metis. Every functioning institution relies on informal adjustments, improvisation, judgment, exceptions, human discretion. Remove these entirely, and systems become rigid. Scott points to a revealing logic, the work-to-rule strike. When workers obey every formal rule exactly, productivity can collapse. In Paris, taxi drivers once decided to follow every traffic regulation to the letter. Every speeding limit, every stopping rule, every procedure. They did not stop working. They simply followed the rules perfectly. And the city slowed dramatically. Traffic backed up. Service deteriorated. Normal flow began to break down. Because functioning systems rely not just on formal rules, but on countless informal judgments to make them work. Discretion, timing, experience, small adjustments that keep life moving. When those invisible adjustments disappear, the official system remains, but the living system falters. Many institutions function not because rules are sufficient, but because people constantly compensate for their insufficiency. In the conclusion, Scott is not arguing that planning itself is evil. This matters. He is arguing against something narrower, the arrogance of total planning, the belief that society can be redesigned from above through abstract models alone. So why do governments keep making the same mistake? Because simplification is tempting. Complexity is frustrating. Local knowledge is messy. Organic systems resist control. But spreadsheets obey. Maps obey. Models obey. There is also a political reason. Large visible plans signal action, new programs, reorganizations, agencies, master plans, metrics. Quiet local competence is harder to celebrate, harder to centralize, harder to claim credit for. This is why the book still matters. The names change, the technologies change, but the temptation remains to treat people as units, communities as diagrams, nature as raw material, knowledge as data alone. The danger is not order itself. Order can be necessary. Institutions matter. Coordination matters. The danger is believing that imposed order has no cost, that what is invisible is unimportant, that what cannot be modeled is unreal. What struck me most in this book is that failure often begins with confidence, not malice, not chaos, confidence. The certainty that one sees enough to rearrange what others live inside. There is a kind of order that emerges over time, and there is a kind of order that is imposed all at once. One learns, the other commands. One adapts, the other demands adaptation. And when governments forget the limits of what they know, they often repeat the same mistake. This concludes my series on Seeing Like a State. If you followed along, thank you. And if you're reading the book yourself, I hope these videos helped illuminate it. I'll see you in the next episode.